Hey, Daniel here. Hope you're having a wonderful Christmas season as we, come into a close for 2022. The common question that, we get asked, or a lot of the video that we're starting to see is that, what is your knife of the year, right? As knife enthusiasts, we go through, or we see a lot of different knives coming out, right? For me, I'm not like a high profile knife reviewer. I don't have a Patreon account. I don't have like a big revenue stream to just blow off on knives every week or even every month. And so when I do get a knife in my collection, usually I've thought about it a long time. I've deliberated over it, and then I'll go ahead and just and buy it, right? And so these are all the knives that I got in 2022. Now, there are a couple that I also got in, but I ended up either selling it or trading it and whatnot. But these are the ones that's just made it through this year. And so this is my attempt to answer what my knife of the year would be. And I would love to hear what your knife of the year is, whether you have it in your collection or not, and maybe even what the knife of your regret is, right? Because we have plenty of those. Those knives that we think are going to check all of our boxes, and then when we get it in hand, it doesn't really meet our expectations, right? So we kind of send it along to the next person. And so, ooh, my throat is thirsty. Let me just take a drink real quick. Hold on a second. All right, so this is like my fifth take. All right, so anyway, so I'll start from left to right. So you got the Hinder Eclipse in the Spear Point S45 VN. I got this directly from Rick Hinder's website. I absolutely love the Eclipse platform. You know, they come out with various like blade styles and whatnot, but I love this traditional kind of that spear point blade shape. I'll say probably this is my second favorite. My first favorite was the Bowie blade shape. It was like a Southern Edges exclusive. I actually had it in my collection, and Dumb Old Me sold it. So, but thankfully I was able to get this guy into my rotation. Next one, you got the Chris Reeve large Sabenza 31 in that box elder, and then the glass blasted finish, and then the stonewashed blade. Next up, you're gonna get, I have the tried and true Spyderco Paramilitary 2 in their brown micarta and their crew wear blade steel. I'll make sure they're still in frame. And then next up, you got the Herman Knife Sting. This is a beautiful piece. This is in their M390. I've seen that. I've seen a lot of his knives are coming out with that M398 blade steel. I'm not familiar with that blade steel at all. So if you have any experience with it, please comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And then next you got the Liang Ma Model 18. This was a limited run to really commemorate, I believe, his 18th year in existence. And so this was produced by Riot Knives. And like I said, it is in limited quantity. So I don't know if you can still get this guy, but this is an integral frame lock titanium folder with the an S90V, and then you got the Riot's proprietary wave cloud pattern, just absolutely beautiful. And then lastly, I have here, this is the Microtech Combat Trudon in their brown Cerakote or Cerakote. I always have a hard time with that word. I don't know. How do you say it? Is this Cerakote or Cerakote? Anyways, unfortunately, this one's broken right now. I, like any knife enthusiast, I probably actuated this blade like 1,000 times or more, and then finally I think the internals broke, so I have to send it into Microtech. But this is the double-edged dagger blade, and I affectionately refer this knife to as a Snickers bar, or what most people know this as is the John Wick knife. But yeah, very fun, wicked cool knife. So with that, and then today, just a watch check. I'm rocking the Omega Speedmaster Professional. This a watch I've had for several years now. This has the older movement. I think maybe 2 years ago put in like a updated movement on this, but it keeps time very well. It's one of my, yeah, awesome watch. So the question is, what is my knife of the year? That's a hard question because I feel like every one of these knives has just something very special, just something really awesome about it that kind of sets it apart from one another. So I'm really considering a couple of things. First, I'm considering price, right? So price wise, definitely the paramilitary 2 would be the cheapest out of the bunch. I believe this comes in at about $180 retail, and so I think that's probably the cheapest. And then second to that, I believe would be either I believe it would be the Hinder Eclipse. It comes in at about 420, I believe. And then next up, the Combat Trudon. Well, this one was a little bit more just because it has a Cerakote. But I believe the base model was like 400 something bucks. This was north of 500. And then I think after that it'd probably be the Liang Ma Model 18. This came in retail at 600. And then I love the flipping action on this guy. And then probably would be the Herman Knife Sting. Now this was actually produced in 2021, so I think that during that time the price was still closer to 600. But now I feel like his knives have gone up and up closer to like 650, maybe closer to 700. And then lastly, you got the Chris Reeve Large Spencer 31, and this one came in clocking in close to about 620, I believe, or 650, I believe. That's what it is. So I'm thinking about price. I'm also thinking about aesthetic, right? Because I think every knife, well, not every, maybe most knife enthusiasts, they're gonna get, we're gonna get knives that speaks to our design aesthetic, right? We get knives that look good to us. It may not look good to other people, but as long as it resonates with us, then we get it, right? So all these knives just it looks really good to me. That's why I picked it up. I would say out of the bunch, probably the Sebenza 31 is probably the most handsome, with that beautiful box elder. I'll say also I love the Loveless design. The Model 18 kind of just resembles, with that blade shape. I just love how this knife looks. And then Riot with their like that wave cloud design, just really, it's a stellar, beautiful piece. Yeah, I would say, yeah, but then they all look so good to me. That's why I have it, in my collection. Thinking about feel in the hand, they're all very, they're all very comfortable in the hand. I am partial to like a single or a double finger choil design. So I love the Hinder Eclipse. It just locks in these two forward fingers and it ain't going anywhere, right? But then I also love like how the Paramilitary 2 has like that palm swell, and then you got that forward finger choil. So it just, you could just really choke up on the blade if you need to, but just this one feels very good in the hand. I mean, they're really known. The Paramilitary 2 is just known to be a very ergonomic performer. But yeah, they're all comfortable. The Sebenza 31 I think has probably the most neutral shaped handle, but it's still also very comfortable in the hand. You got that beautiful box elder that really fills in the hand. It has a really warm tactile feeling, and then you have like the lock bar cutout that acts as like a shallow like a single finger choil, right? And then lastly, I'm thinking about like performance, like just does it cut, and does it cut well? All of these cuts, they all cut pretty well, right? As you can see, you have different kind of blade styles and different blade steels going on. So that's going to play a part, but I would say probably the best performers would have to be like the Paramilitary 2 and the Sting because it has a full flat grind. But I'll say a very close second would have to be the Chris Reeve hollow grind. It just, whew, if you've ever used a hollow grind, you know how well it performs, you know, and then you also have the benefit of having a really reinforced tip, and then you have like, you know, that full kind of that spine rigidity to really support the structural integrity of the blade, right? And so I would say probably these three are the best performers cutting wise. So really, it boils down to, okay, so Daniel, please, what is like your knife of the year? I would definitely have to go with, shoot, this is hard, but definitely this guy. The Chris Reeve large Sabenza 31 in this box elder. And there are a couple reasons why. First, there's a sentimental reason. This is actually a knife that was a gift from my wife for our 10-year anniversary. So that alone makes this like a lifelong keeper. Probably going to give this to my son when he grows up, or maybe not. I don't know. But yeah, so I have like a personal attachment to this knife. You know, it just reminds me of the 10 years of marriage, and just very grateful for having a lifelong partner. You know, and we just continue to grow together. Anyways, aside from the sentimental value, I just love how this knife looks. Just a beautiful, iconic design. If you've been in the knife hobby for any number of or length of time, you know, this is such a recognizable knife, right? Just even like an outline or silhouette of this knife, you'll immediately know it's a Sabenza, right? And so this knife has been around for a long time. It's been a titan in the knife industry for over 20 years. And so you have, you know, and then, you know, this design aesthetic really speaks to me. You know, I love neutral shaped handles. It's able to accommodate different kind of grips. You know, you have like that overhead grip, you got the hammer grip, you know, the pinch grip. They all feel very good, you know, because it's a very neutral handle. You know, you have, and then next on top of that, it performs so well with this drop point hollow grind blade. It's just, whew, it's beautiful, and it performs beautifully, right? This is in the S45 VN, and so far I've cut a ton of boxes with this guy, especially during the holiday season, and it's held an edge really well. There's no chips or dings or rolls, and it's just, yeah, it's just functions performed just beautifully. Um, yeah, also I would say you just can't go wrong with a Sabenza at the end of the day. Yeah, it might not be the most fidget friendly or the most futuristic knife out there, but if you want like a one knife to kind of rule them all for the rest of your life, you definitely cannot go wrong with a Sabenza. I'm very partial to the large Sabenza 31. I've had the small. I have a small Sabenza 21, but I just really love the dimensions of a large 31. It fills my hand. You know, I have plenty of real estate, and then you got plenty of blade to do everything that you need to do as a, you know, as a knife enthusiast, right? So with that being said, you take this out of frame because you got the Sabenza 31 in that box elder. That is my knife of the year. I would love to hear what your knife of the year is, or what your knife of the regret is. But with that being said, have a wonderful Christmas, have a wonderful New Year's, and have a spectacular start to 2023. Take care now.